We should turn our videos off.
Welcome to the party, baby. We are back. Paradise Valley Podcast, Week 7 coming at you hot. I'm joined by my co-host, Pat Jamross.
What's going on? Took a week off, but we back.
We're back better than ever. Shock top in hand. I think Ross's little wine.
Yeah, we got a little vino on tap.
We're ready to roll. D. Brown, what's good?
What's good, boys? Welcome back.
Good to be back.
Good to be back. Everybody had the week off last week.
Yeah, we had to take it off last week. Busy schedule for all of us. I know, D. Brown, you're happy to be back in the win column and back with us. Different mindset.
Feels good. It was a tough start, 0-4, and I just felt like, all right, we got to do something different. I can't just keep coming on and talking about the shitty state of my team. So we took a week off. Still got beat that week, but we ended up getting a win this week. So it feels good.
Feels good.
Long way to go, but it feels good.
Yeah, for sure. Got to start somewhere. All right, let's get into Week 6 recaps. We'll start with my matchup against Dim. It was, going from the CMAC matchup where it was Thursday to Tuesday grinds, just close matchup the whole way, to this one kicks off at 1, and I'm pretty much done by 3:30 with Henry and Jefferson just absolutely going off on those 1 o'clock games. So tough one. Sick of my team putting up, not high numbers. So hoping to bounce back. Obviously made a big trade. We'll see where it leads us. Obviously not what we want to do, but 3-3, we're looking ahead.
Yeah, that was a big trade. But, looking at this one, welcome to the dud column. We threw him up a lot the first 4 weeks. So, hey, 85, that's a dud. But Dim's squad is looking pretty good. Other than his RBs beside Henry, he's looking like he's got a high-powered team.
I couldn't agree more. Dim's team is looking pretty scary. Henry's he's a top 5 guy, and then Mahomes, he wakes up and pisses 20 points. So I do agree, though. James Robinson and Antonio Gibson, I just don't know if those two are going to be your RB2 and RB3 that win you a championship. So we'll see if he makes any moves. But Jefferson coming along is huge for him. I like Dim's team a lot.
Yeah.
So just looking at your squad here, like you said, you were kind of out of it early because it was a dud week. But Aaron Rodgers, 3 points. You're probably sticking with him this week. He's got a juicy matchup. But just going down the line, look, production-wise, like how you feeling about – I'm looking at 2 guys like Robert Woods and David Johnson. What's your confidence level in those guys?
I like David Johnson. I know, just talking trades, talking shop with a bunch of guys in the league, it doesn't seem like he's a hot commodity. But personally, 4 or 5 straight weeks, at least 10 points. He's a solid third running back. I had Jake bye and then obviously flipped him for Taylor, who's now on bye this week. So I'm going to have to start him again. But I don't have any reservations about starting him. And now Robert Woods is my 4th wide receiver. So he's only getting the start on bye weeks in good matchups.
Yeah, and you're pretty deep at the flex too, so it's not always Woods there.
Right. I'm going to play the matchups. I've got Robinson, Ridley, Chris Godwin, and Woods at wide receiver, and then Johnson mixing at Taylor, running back to play around with.
Yeah.
But, just real quick to finish off this matchup, even if Rodgers puts up 20 points, I'm right in that 105, 110, 115 range, whatever it is. I've been there all week or all year, and it's that's 500 fantasy football. At this point, I got to start putting up higher points. So some guys got to start coming up.
And it's also tough to beat a guy that's dropping 140. Dim's looking 5-1 record. I'm still I don't know. We'll talk about it as we go on. But those running backs besides Henry, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the only 2 he's got on his roster besides Henry.
We'll jump ahead. It's a good point, but not to get ahead of ourselves. Here we go. Ravens Nest, Dab Nappers. Big win for the Ravens Nest, and then just a tough one for the Dab Nappers dealing with injury, obviously. D. Brown, I'll let you kick this one off.
Yep. Lamar, what he got? He got 28. It's I don't know, Zeke, weak game from Zeke. And David Montgomery, I don't know. Earlier when I made the trade, I think I said he has a higher ceiling, but it seems like his ceiling is pretty low, David Montgomery. He doesn't really rush for 100 yards. He's pretty touchdown dependent. Also, another thing, looking at C-Mac's team, I was kind of listening to a couple of the old podcasts, and I was looking at our first value picks when we were talking about him back. I was spot on with Stephon Diggs. I was saying that Stephon Diggs could be a wide receiver 1 for C-Mac, and it looks like right now, out of all 3 of his receivers, that Stephon Diggs is his best receiver. So, but starting Brandon Ayuk at the flex, I don't know. That's a little sketchy to me for C-Mac. And he just traded Jerick McKinnon for this tight end, Robert Tonyan. And now it looks like McKinnon's going to take over the lead back in San Fran with Mostert going down. Ross, how do you think about the state of Dap's team?
It's tough to see, I mean, he had those 2 tough injuries. I, for one, have tried to talk running backs with him, and he's been a little stingy. I think if he wants to make any run at this, he's got to get someone else besides Devin Singletary at his RB2. And then, I mean, Juju's just, I don't know. Juju's not what he was his first 2 years in the league. I think Claypool, I watched a lot of that game on Sunday, and he looks like the way more talented wide receiver there. And then you add in Deontay Johnson and Ebron, Connor. Like, there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense, and Juju's not getting fed. So, on Mac's team, I'm not sold on it. Caleb was bringing up a lot of good points in the power ranking episode, but I just don't see it. Like, he keeps sneaking by. Like, 111, that's a good week. That's not like you're definitely going to win week. And if you go look at the standings, Mac has the least points against by a lot. I think the Mac fantasy luck continues on, but he doesn't have the team this year, I don't think. I have Fournette, Bell. I still think those guys are second options in their backfield, like you said about Montgomery. He's not that. He'll get you 10 to 15 at the most, but he's not going for anything bigger than that. But you were right. Diggs is balling. Allen is balling. I'll eat my words. I did not think that was going to happen, but they're producing. But Dap's going to need a miracle to get back in this, and I just don't see this being as a championship team. But the way his season's going, it looks like Mac's probably going to make playoffs as of right now.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. It's a long way to go for that. For talking a 4-2 team making it. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, Dap's going to have to get some wins here before his Eckler and Chubb come back.
But this was another blowout. I mean, 111 to 73.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Real quick on C-Mac, like, I think he has a good core with Jackson, Elliott, Diggs, Evans, and then Keenan Allen. But then there's question marks even within those guys. Jackson isn't running as much. Elliott without Dak. Evans looks very touchdown dependent. Can Diggs and Allen keep it up? And then beyond that, he's got some depth questions. So I think there's a lot of teams sitting there. I don't know if I put him in as a playoff team right now, though. I think there's me, you, or Sheehan could make a run. Are a little bit more dangerous, honestly, Ross.
For sure.
All right, real quick. I guess that's a good foreshadowing. I didn't even realize that, but the matchup with the 2, 3, and 3 teams I just mentioned, Sheehan taking down you, Ross. Obviously a tough one, but what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think decent to you. I joined the dud column big time. 73, it was rough. Also kind of similar to your point, I had like 7 or 8 guys go at 1 o'clock, and they just didn't do anything. So it was like, wow, I'm fucking done. But I mean, I don't think Big Ben's the answer to win me a championship. I think he's going to get me by for as long as I can until I do find the answer. But that game flow really screwed over Big Ben. They got a pick 6. Claypool got tackled at the 1 twice. That both turned into rushing touchdowns. So he was a little unlucky there. I think he has a much better week. But I got to look Odell in the face and say, it's on you, man. Like, you got to pick it up. You got to be my wide receiver too. I need kind of shifting over to Sheehan's team. I mean, Murray, he's the amount that he runs. It's like Lamar Jackson last year, where he's going to get you running back numbers on top of passing. So he's very dangerous in that aspect. Mostert getting hurt again. I mean, Kittle's a stud, but Sheehan just can't get rid of the injury bug. And it seems like Mike T has another problem with his hamstring. So we'll see. But I do think Sheehan's team is dangerous. And I mean, we're going to have to look ourselves in the mirror and have a lot better week this week if we want to start making contention for the playoffs.
Yeah. I agree. Just like Sheehan's team is dangerous. It's underrated for sure. He's got some studs on it, definitely. looking at Ross's is his QB. He lost his QB. Hilaire looked like a beast, but I mean, I don't know. Ross's Miles Sanders hurt this week. There's a big couple weeks coming up for the Packers.
I mean, first off, the old little injury bug came in and it bit us. We lost the starter in 3 straight weeks in the middle of the third quarter in all those games. But I mean, it's got to fall on some pickups I made, that trade that did get Big Ben. I mean, A.J. Brown, we were never really going to start him after just 1 week, but with 2 TDs, like, I think he's a sure-in starter for me going forward for the foreseeable future. And then, I mean, it's D Brown. I guess I'll get to the previews when we do that later.
Is Ebron your tight end? You're Ebron your starting tight end?
No, Fant's my guy. I just need him to be healthy.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah. So here's another point that I want to make. Like, dude, looking at it now, the Vikings, like how run heavy they are with Dalvin Cook, like almost leading the league, or I think he does lead the league in rushing yards. But then they're still supporting 2, like Thielen's putting up numbers, and so is Justin Jefferson. They have like 2 top 5 wideouts.
Yeah, Thielen's got a lot of TDs. I think he's leading the league in TDs.
In the top 5. Jefferson,
and Thielen was shit all week. He had all game. He had like 4 points and then got a TD in garbage time. When I was basically already done, I was like, this doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, the Vikings are putting out a legit number 1 running back. And
their D's just so bad that they have to pass it so much.
But it's like, is Kirk Cousins putting up good numbers for fantasy? I don't think so.
Not really.
Yeah. He only goes to those 2 guys, I guess. Yeah, I think real quick on these 2 teams, it's going to come down to Sheen's RB depth, which obviously we've touched upon in the past, and with Mostert going down, continues to look shaky. If Thomas and Kittle can carry him and he stays healthy at RB, though, he's dangerous, like you guys said. And then obviously, Ross, you were 1 on your power rankings and 2 on mine. So took a fall, but if you can find a way into playoffs, anything can happen. So
took a fall.
For sure.
Right.
We took a big fall, but I mean, we still like what we got. We still like what we got.
The Pirates got attacked by an enemy ship, and they fought back. They can do it.
It was the former KKK, now Mountain Goats, that took them.
Let's go. This is a nice matchup here.
Big win for D Brown.
Our RBs are starting to run like the RBs we drafted them as. Kenyon Drake, I'm going to say it now, rest of the way. RB1, let's go, Kenyon Drake. Now, that was a garbage time touchdown.
Hold the phone.
That's wishful thinking.
I'm hyping Drake up. But yeah, we had 4 QBs on our roster going into this week, and we ended up starting them with the least amount of points. Go figure. Still got the win, though. Ronald Jones, I'm loving how he's looking. He's honestly looking like a stud. Julio comes back. Julio balls. I have a couple question marks with Cooper Kupp, Evan Ingram. And then looking over to Lane's team, he started Rex Burkhead, got him like 1 point or something. I love that start. Definitely love that. Question why, when he lost Saquon Barkley, why is he dropping a guy like DeAndre Swift? Yeah, he didn't have a huge role, but it's like definitely a guy you should hold on to because now look what he's turning into.
Quick point on that. I've questioned why he's kept Barkley in his IR. Like, are you really going to use a keeper in the first round on Barkley coming off an ACL? Like, that's just not something I'd personally do. But
so you're just thinking cut bait?
I mean, there's been guys like Gordon's been out. Like, he's had opportunities to use that out or IR spot and keep guys like DeAndre Swift, but he's dropped them to just save roster spots for Barkley. I just don't get it.
Like, yeah, Swift for sure.
I like the keeping Barkley because I don't see another clear keeper on his team. Like maybe Kelsey in the 3rd round or even 2nd round. When did he pick him? Maybe even
that's true.
What about Josh Allen? Like,
no, that's valid.
6th round, like, yeah, but I think that's not like clearly better than Saquon. I think he could have kept Swift and cut some of these other schmucks off his bench.
Like, I can't believe he dropped Swift. Now I'm facing this week coming off. Who knows what he's going to do because AP's still there.
I don't even know if we'll get to that. I
mean, but it's like, I just don't get why he's dropping a guy like Swift. And now he's starting Burkhead getting him 1 point. The McKinnon trade looks like now McKinnon with Mostert getting hurt. I mean, C-Mac, that's your 2nd tight end you've traded for on the season. Stop trading for tight ends. Like what's C-Mac just trading for tight ends for like crazy? That guy's not even that good.
He had a 3-touchdown night on Monday night, and then C-Mac traded for him the next day.
McKinnon, it's like just hold McKinnon. That's more value. Like, but yeah, I mean, it was
big for last place. Like this one, I can see the Rockers getting a couple wins, and I have a harder time seeing CDs, TDs, getting those wins down.
It felt good to claw out of last place for sure.
I think you're still in last place, right?
Yeah, but how can I be with? We're tied with a head-to-head win.
He has more points, so that's the next tiebreaker.
Yeah,
Well,
but
like that. That's big to get that tiebreaker even up at head-to-head.
Would it be head-to-head though?
It's head-to-head. That's what we did last year because Trevor had the least amount of points, but Sheehan lost him head-to-head, so Sheehan
So
got
as
it.
of now, Lane's last then, right?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are 1-1, right?
Did I play him already? I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I think he beat you week 1, right?
Okay. I can't remember. But yeah,
Last one real quick here. Sandman over the Trippers, a tough one for the Trippers. They, obviously Newton did all right, but didn't look pretty in that game. And then Taylor, who he traded, Madison, game flow screwed him, and his rest of his team really didn't put up many points. Clearly felt like he had to move this week, which he did. And we'll get into that more in the preview. And then Sandman, big win for him. I would say, in my book, him and Dim are clearly top of the league right now. QB
Great.
continue to persist for the Sandman, but besides that, I think his RB's solid. Getting Claypool only helps his wide receivers, and then Waller's in there as a top 5 tight end. So, and then the Steelers D too, which is honestly, I think, gone under the radar a little bit. That's a real good defense in there. So
I'll quickly say about Sandman's team, that's a scary 105. Stafford puts up 12. Gesicki puts up 0. He doesn't have Kamara or Carson, and he puts up 105. That's once if he figures out a QB, that's a scary team. Even
he's
without,
not gonna though. He does.
Yeah.
It seems like he's going between Stafford or Goff.
yeah. All right, let's get an over under. Real quick. 5-3 Ross, 4-4 me, and then D. I guess you're ahead of me actually 4-3. Are you going 2 overs this week since you miss Melvin?
Yeah, I got to get my second one then because I forgot to get it, but I'll get one.
All right. Well, start us off on your over.
Okay.
Actually, you want us to skip you? Ross, you go ahead, and then we'll go back to D.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So first
Oh, yeah,
homer
dude.
pick of the year, we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Even with Bell coming back, I still think he's the lead guy. The Chiefs rarely play him on third down to begin with. The thing I'm banking on is he's gotten to the end zone the past 2 weeks, and they both got called back on flags. He's got one TD on the year. To play in a Chiefs offense that scores as many touchdowns as they do, and to get as many touches as he does, he's bound to find the end zone. I think I'm hoping on a big day. I think he's good for a good 80 yards, and if he can find that end zone, the Pirates will be very happy.
Right on. All right, we'll go to mine. I'm going another homer pick as of yesterday. Chris Godwin, 12.8. Being a Bucs fan, I watched most of their games, obviously, and I like the way Godwin's looked in the games he's played. Brady seems to look to him short a lot more than he does Evans, which is huge, and I think they're going to that more and more. They started off kind of with Arians' way of going long a little bit more, and it seems to me like they're going in a little bit more Brady's direction where you look short, and then if the long ball is there, go for it. And that bodes well for Godwin. Obviously, Evans has gotten a lot of touchdowns, but I think Godwin's the biggest threat in this offense. So I'm going with him, 12.8 in a good matchup against them.
I like that. I tried to trade for Godwin this week. I like his outlook moving forward. So I'm back to mine. I got mine. I got 2 of mine. The first one is Chris Carson. It's already up there. I think Carson's a beast, dude. Like, the only issue with Chris Carson is health. If he's healthy, he's one of the most underappreciated, just underrated backs in the league. He runs so hard. 14 for him is a little low. I feel like I looked at his games. He usually goes for like 18 to 20. I think Carson just is a hard runner. Cardinals defense doesn't seem too strong to me. They lost Chandler Jones also, so that's big. And then my second over, I think we're all going to have a homer pick now. It's his breakout game or else he's getting cut for me. Evan Ingram, 7.5 tomorrow night. I think that's pretty low. It's like if he doesn't have a big night, Evan Ingram, that's why I drafted him. He's supposed to be this stud tight end that's like a wideout. So let's have a big night, Ingram.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, let's jump on to the unders. Keep it rolling, D. Brown. Where are you going?
Antonio Gibson somehow projected for probably like the second most running back points this week, 15. Yeah, he's facing Dallas, but I don't know, man. Like, I'm still not sold on him. Dallas's D is hot trash, but this is going to be I don't know. I think he's going under 15. Dim's got. I mean, if not, then it's like this guy can emerge as Dim's RB2. I don't think he can, so I think he's going under.
He's very David Johnson-esque to me in a worse offense.
Yeah.
I like it. Ross, who are you going with?
Mixon, yep. That projection just doesn't make sense to me. That is really high. He's gone over 15 once this year, given it was a massive game, but still, it seems like he's good for 60-ish yards rushing, maybe a couple catches, and maybe finds the end zone. I think a big week for Mixon is like 15. That line's pretty bad. The Bengals, they're up and down offensively. I just don't – that 18 just seems a little too high for him, so I had to go under.
He's questionable too. He's questionable, and they haven't released any MRI information like at all.
He's been questionable the last 3 weeks though, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah, but this one he came out of the game and didn't go back in last week.
Back in.
I don't know.
He went back in, and then in the last drive, he wasn't playing at all, so they're worried that he.
Yeah. Just in case, we scooped up Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I feel fine about Mixon health-wise, but 18 seemed like a lot. I agree there. For me, I'm going D. Brown's guy, Devontae Freeman, 11.6. I think that game is going to be, dogfight. Thursday nights, divisional matchups on Thursday nights usually is, I think the over-under is like 43. It's probably going to be a low-scoring game, and Freeman's probably got to find the end zone to hit that, in my mind, and I'm going to bet against him doing that. 0 for 2 last week, or 2 weeks ago. So
go.
Open to bounce back.
We still have some negotiations with we have definitely trade talks with Freeman out there. He might not be in the lineup, but it's just short. We got like 24 hours left.
Yeah, I got to make a deal quick.
Yeah.
All right,
so
this
Freeman
week in Valley history, we're bringing back an old piece of podcast lore. Got a couple of ones. We'll jump through them real quick. 2014, second year of the Valley, Sandman put up 51 points in a loss to Team Caston. I'll throw back there.
People forget the Sandman was in the league before last year.
Listen, that's a good stat. I had no idea. What the hell?
Throwing up duds against Cass. Who knows where that guy is at this point in his life? All right. Same year, same week. Cobras got the win against D. Brown. We'll see if they can do it again. New name.
Replicate
in
that.
The text message, when Ross said he found the stat, he described it as an absolute shootout. I don't know, 79?
Yeah, I was being sarcastic.
Oh. Well, because it was so close. And then I'm so used to the high scores now with the PPR, so I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, it was a close shootout, but like, it wasn't too high scoring.
So as I was running through the years of week 7, I was going through and I saw Team Dimmer put up 50. So if we're going to call out Sandman, we got to call out Dimmer. He lost to the Beantown Baggers. Can either of you guys remember who was the owner of that team?
Sounds like Ross.
Pete Cully.
Pete Cully, yes, sir. And then the next year in week 7, Lane put up 47.4.
Just duds.
He
lost to the Super.
And that's got to be lowest.
And then
Sandman put up 38 last year.
Oh, yeah.
Last year in 2019, only one person went over 100 this week. So just a low-scoring week in Valley history. We'll see if that changes or continues this year.
It's always a heavy bye week, so makes sense.
Yeah, no, exactly. All right. Thought we'd bring that back real quick. Probably continue to do that. Let's get into previews. Sandman versus the Warriors. I didn't mean to put myself first, but just that's how ESPN lines
Hey,
up.
well, we'll take it here because this is a big one for the Warriors. You kidding me?
Huge.
Big trade. They just traded for their RB, I guess, is going to be considered your RB1 because Jacobs was your RB1. So you just traded for your RB1 who's on a bye week this week to get some of Chris Godwin, who should have a good week. But it's got to pay off with a win right here.
It's Chris Godwin, but he also got Taylor, who's on a bye as well. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he just
one that
he just traded for is not in his lineup. So it's like, yeah, going forward that might work, but if you got to pull off this win. I mean, I'm 1-5, but 3-3. This is a big spot for the Warriors. I feel like they started hot. They're slowing down a little. Rodgers, love his matchup though. He should feast against Houston. And then, I mean, David Johnson, we'll see. I expect that to be a high-scoring game. Allen Robinson and Ridley are two good wideouts. Godwin, I like his outlook going forward. Solid tight end. We'll see where Charles going for defense. Charles, you know where you're going.
I do.
What are you doing for D?
I'm not going to say, but I
All
have
right.
a good feel for the two teams.
Over here, I
And
mean, I like the matchups for Charlie. Sandman's team is just elite. Let's see what Stafford in a solid matchup, which should be a shootout against the Falcons. Kamara against the Panthers. Trash run D. It's going to be a good one. I'm leaning Sandman, but Charlie needs it.
Yeah.
I'd say
go ahead.
I'd say it's tough for Sandman to leave Claypool out of his lineup. Like I said, he got tackled twice at the one. Like he could have 3 TDs. Again.
Yep. Claypool should be in there. He's a stud. Although that game against the Titans could be a little low scoring kind of defensive battle. I don't know.
That's my thought as well.
That's how I see it.
Real quick on that trade, I viewed it as long-term. Obviously, I'm getting Taylor, but for this week, I view it as a must-win. I thought personally, Ridley versus Josh Jacobs, who do I rather have in there? It toss-up. So
you mean Godwin?
Yeah. Sorry, Godwin. Wasn't afraid to make that trade. Even viewing this as not a must-win, but a pretty damn near important must-win.
Especially that Bucks defense. So
and then the other thing, real quick, just on the screen, you can see like the average points. So that's the average versus the projected. And Trevor stood out as like he's 13 points over his projections with what he does at like his players' average versus what they're projected. So like obviously his players like Kamara and Carson have been going off, and projections aren't gonna have Kamara at 25. But if he continues to do that, Sandman obviously looks like a dangerous team. So just look out for that on these next couple of slides. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I like it.
All right, jumping forward real quick, or not real quick, but let's jump into the Mountain Goats versus CDs, TDs. Ross, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'll take this one for sure. I mean, this Sheehan's looking like a scary team. I know some other guys like Caleb and I at 3-3 is hoping for the upset here, but I don't see it. Lane's team, he looks a little defeated. Is Devontae Adams going to come back and put up 18 points? That's a pretty high projection. I know you guys were loving Rodgers. I can't bet against Sheehan's team the way he's playing. I will say besides Michael Thomas, all his wide receivers are kind of just toss up, like DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Jarvis Landry. So I will say his wide receiver 2 is his weakness. But I got to give the edge to Sheehan right now. But looking at it though, Lane's got some good projections. It's going to be a close one.
Yeah, Devontae Adams has a big projection with 18 for sure. Me and Lane have been talking trades surrounding Devontae. This is going to be a good one though. I mean, I'm leaning Sheehan too for sure.
Yeah, I think projections. I'm a little surprised Lane is as close as he is. I think Sheehan's probably more like a 7 or 8 point favorite in this one, but we'll see. I'm rooting for Lane to pull it off for sure.
Lane's projected for 117. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'd like to take this one, Caleb.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I got a bold take about the Happy Land Trippers. First off, the Cam Newton surrounding he had going this whole year just did not make sense. Cam Newton's the second QB after 2 weeks, and I think that's the time when you strike when the iron's hot. And he was all about, I don't need anyone in my starting lineup. But then you looked at his bench and it was terrible. People like myself were offering him quality running backs who could be starting for him this week, and he just was having none of it. He was only trying to trade Newton for a bona fide starter. And I think that came back to bite him in the ass. I think he probably lost his trade. I'm not big on Edelman this year. I think he's kind of looking old. I think Godwin, Taylor compared to just Jacobs is better. My bold take is I think Kirch, not C-Mac, is the 4-2 team that doesn't make the playoffs. He's got Wilson and DK, but I don't see it with the rest of his team. I think Kirch goes on an all-time skid. He loses 3 or 4 in a row and probably makes a panic trade because Kirch is a big trader. So that's my prediction. If D Brown wants to take the matchup, he can. But I've been saving that up, and I wanted to let it out for the podcast.
Oh, let it out! I love it.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if it's Me, you, Trev, Dim, playoffs. Ross.
Yeah, or even Sheehan. Like I just
Yep.
I don't see these 4-2 teams. They just their rosters aren't doing for me right now. Their records are good, but we'll see. We'll see. I could be completely wrong.
We'll see Dalvin Cook's health. We'll see if he comes
Exactly.
back.
That's another point I want to. Delvin Cook, like you don't know what he is with his health wise, and it's like Boston Scott. That's maybe a week or two of him. Josh Kelly, who knows? Like besides Jacobs, it's like who's a sure guy. Oh, I guess he does have Madison, so he does have an RB2 for sure. But the roster, I just don't think it's as dominant as we thought he was a couple weeks ago in the power rankings.
Pretty sure Madison just started against the Falcons and didn't do shit though. It's like
Yeah,
sometimes you have the backup, but they're not that great. They are.
Well,
they
the projections for him was like 18.
I know.
Like he was supposed to be like the third best running back.
Literally. That freaking Matt Berry said he's starting 2 guys over Madison last week, and I forget who they were. He said 2 running backs he's starting over Madison.
It was like Zeke and someone else. I remember that. It was crazy.
Like, come on.
I'll just say it's a shame one of these teams is going to be 5-2.
I agree.
All right, let's go. Wow, look at Dim's projections: 125 to 104. Only one advantage on the board for Dappy here, and it's Mike Davis who's questionable. Assume he's going to play. Has a good matchup against the Saints. I like Brady obviously against the Raiders, but the rest of it and Cooper. We'll see if the Cowboys can bounce back, but the rest of that team, just without his 2 top picks, is just looking defeated a little bit, especially going into a tough matchup. Schedule's just not doing him any favors having these tough matchups against, while he's got his guys out. But again, could be a defensive battle. It could be a tough game for Henry, but still with Mahomes, Henry, Hopkins against that Seattle defense, Lockett, that's going to be a shootout. How do you not bet on Joe Dim here?
That's a big 3 right there. Mahomes, Henry, D-Hop. That's pretty stacked.
Oh, yeah. And I want to give Dim credit on that Jonnu Smith trade. Like, he traded him Michael Gallup, who's the wide receiver 3 in Dallas, for Jonnu Smith, who's looking like a top 5 tight end. Like, I got to give Dim a lot of credit.
You for sure don't make that trade after Dak's injury, but even before it, I don't make that trade.
Yeah. And I get Sheehan had Kittle, but it was like, I don't know, if you waited a couple more weeks, I think the value for Smith just keeps going up.
Real quick, let's take a second here. I mean, Dak was looking good for a while, and he could very easily be 2-5 just with this tough matchup and back going towards his typical trajectory in the Valley. Another tough year for the kid, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. He can't catch a break, and it's just like, he's pretty bad. Like if you do it year in and year out, like there's mistakes to be made. Like he hasn't flipped Chubb or Eckler for anyone. I feel like if you have 2 guys on the IR, like a deal's gotta eventually be made. I think he's been a little stubborn with his guys, and that team's not going to do it. It's looking like Dat may be on a clear path for last place.
I was looking just around at every team's like trades and acquisitions, and Dap's just like, I think he has 8, and then I think he made 1 trade, but he might have made none. Did he make a trade yet?
I don't think so.
But Dap, everyone else had at least, the lowest was, the next one I think was like 11 for acquisitions, but everybody else was like 20s and 24, 25. Dap had 8.
Yeah.
And then I would also like to point out his waiver claim this week, when he needs a must win, is for Tua Tagovailoa, who's on a bye week and who's never started a game in the NFL. It's like, is that the answer, Dap?
Love it, Dap.
Questionable.
I mean,
this is our producer this week. He's working late. The host is on duty, but good luck to him.
I'd like to personally say this. Wait, can we go back to that one? Can we go back real quick? Just looking at Jamison Crowder. We don't have to go back because it's just Jamison Crowder, but just a story.
It's like Jamison Crowder. We're behind time. We're going ahead to the big match we want.
I mean, this is insane. No, it's about a bad. This is a bad beat story about Joe Flacco.
Okay. Let's go for it.
Because it's like, how can you start Jamison Crowder now when Joe Flacco is his quarterback? So I was watching that game and down a shit ton of money, literally down way too much money. Watching it, Joe Flacco has 59 passing yards at halftime. 59. So, and I know that they're going to have to pass in the second half because they're down, but it's like 59 passing yards. What would you think he ends up with? So I look at the live bet. for some reason, I think it's insane. His passing yards are at 183 and a half for the rest of the game. He only got 59 in the first half. That's like triple, dude. It's like triple it. So I go and put 300 and freaking 360 to win 300 on Joe Flacco to go under the 183. I'm like, he just finished with 60 in the first half. Maybe he'll get 150. Came down to the last drive. He had like 169 yards. Adam Gase starts opening it up in the second half. Flacco just deep pass. 4th and 2, they go for it. Last play of the game, 18-yard pass, and I lost 300 on it. I was pissed, dude.
What Flacco, a wild bet.
186 yards he ended up with. It was 183 and a half. But he had 59 at halftime, dude. I was livid. So it's like
tough. All right. Tough. Well, with that segue into bad beats, let's go into your matchup. You're currently projected to lose by 0.4 points. How are you about this one?
I love it. Ross, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll go first. I mean, this is not the Rockers of 3 weeks ago that are going to be putting up 85. I think the projections are pretty fair for both of us. I think Rojo's looking good, and if Drake can keep that up and Julio's back, Julio and Deshaun are kind of back to what D. Brown drafted them as. So, I mean, this is not the last place Rockers that's going to be a walkover win like a DAP would be, I think. I think this is going to be a battle. We're kind of torn on the flex spot for us. We have Swift in. It's most likely going to be Swift, but Justin Jackson or Debo could find their way in there. I think it goes back to my over with Clyde. I need a big game out of him, and I need a big game out of Kareem and Odell. Is it a little deja vu, D? Last time we played against the Bengals, those two, they had like
oh my God, I didn't even know it was
35 on Thursday night. So
now it is.
I'm gonna need those Browns to step up big, and then I mean D's been on my ass a lot about Big Ben, and man, would it be sweet for him to put up a 20+ week.
Dude, I didn't even know it's the fucking Bengals they're facing. But Hunt's got another injury now, literally. And Odell is like junk now, literally. But Big Ben.
I need the Odell against the Cowboys version.
I'm seeing a dud for Big Ben. Would love it. He's got weapons, but they're a run-heavy team with a defense that they rely on. So Ross also now rosters 3 quarterbacks. So it's like I might have put the scare into the league and everyone's just grabbing QBs. Ross has Jimmy G, and the guy that podcast won, he said, I think the most surprising draft pick of the whole draft is Teddy Bridgewater being drafted. Now he's rostered by Ross.
Hey, man, desperate times.
I love it. So, I mean, we love it. But looking at me and my team, Deshaun Watson, he's starting locked in for sure. Unless we trade him, but I don't think we are. Watson, he's back to putting up numbers. They fired Bill O'Brien. I love how Jones is looking. I love Drake's outlook. I love how Ronald Jones is looking. Still a little skeptical on Julio just because he's always coming in hurt. But it's like, what's he going to do? But he seems to be back. I don't know. I think I'm going to pull this out. I really do. I really just like my matchups a little more than Ross's. And I like my team. And the thing is, even though I had a tough start, one thing I did was held tight to my guys because I still, believed in them. It was just a tough start. And I think that I'm going to come up 1 or 2 games, probably just 1 game away from missing the playoffs, and it's going to be because of the 0-5 start. And I
will say we're happy to get one of the last games of the Rockers without CMC.
I mean, who knows? There's still reports that he might not even come back for a couple weeks. But it's like the first 5 weeks I lost because I was facing guys that were just dropping so many points. I think there was one matchup that I could have possibly won, and it was against Dim. But I just didn't have anything on my team. I needed CMC is what I needed. But it was a tough start. So we're looking to win 2 in a row and see if we can get something going.
Yeah. I just want to quickly –
Go ahead, Ross.
Just quickly, the dynamic of he's got the 2 Giants on Thursday night. I got the Eagles D. That's going to be interesting. And then most of my team plays on 1 o'clock, a couple guys at 4, and then I'm done. And then D's got 2 guys on Sunday night and 2 guys on Monday night. So I'm going to have to get a lead and just watch his players, which is, we all know, never fun.
Which I loved. I always look at that, and I was like, that's what part of the pick thing that goes into me picking up my kicker is what time he's playing at. I picked up – he's a good kicker. For sure I'm going to pick up a good one, but it's like I wanted the Sunday nighter.
Yeah. For me, looking at this matchup, I think it's a close one. Agree with both you guys. I'm going to call it 108-105 Ross. Just on short.
Ross breaks my heart again. I might come to Boston.
All right. That's it for Paradise Valley Podcast this week. Any last thoughts before we send it to week 7, boys?
Must win
Not
for the
really.
Pirates. Must win.
I think we
Good to
would
be back on the cast. What'd you say, Hall?
I think we all have to say that about our teams right here at 3-3.
Oh, yeah.
3-3 and 1-5. Well,
And our producer.
So I want to talk a little bit about right now, just you and how was your negotiations with that trade with Kirks? Like, did you start it? Did he start it? How'd it go?
Yeah, so I won't even bring up the text, but I texted him and I said, Allen Robinson and David Johnson for Jonathan Taylor and Godwin. And he was like, no fucking way. And I was like, all right, like whatever, like, and just was like, I don't know, like if we can make something happen. He's like, would you do Jacobs? And I was like, I'd do anyone for the right price. God, that's how you have to respond to that. Anytime anyone asks you how you have to respond. And unless it's like CMC last year or something. But then I was like, he sent me an offer. I thought about it. I looked at it, mulled on it for 15 minutes. Was scared he might get wet feet, but I thought did due process on it, and I liked it. Made it happen.
You like Taylor?
I like Taylor. I view him just as a little bit lower than Jacobs and higher potential. I think we've seen what Jacobs is. He's got a worse O-line. Taylor could break out. I could see it, but
for sure. Because I hit you up too, and I was trying to put together a package. Remember, I asked you for Jacobs.
Yeah, for Kenyon Drake. So.
And then I said I was down to add more, but that was the base. I was like, "Yo, Drake for Jacobs," and then let's add. But it was tough to add because I have Julio, who'd be an addition, but you have Ridley.
Right. All right. Let's send it out of here, boys. It's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Shit.